Well, I've made videos, some recently, describing why van life / RV life is not cheaper in many regards than standard living, especially when you consider long-term depreciation, long-term, if you don't own property, what are you going to do in the future? And those are real considerations that you need to factor in to your individual decision. But the counter argument to the statement that van life or RV life is not cheaper, the counter argument is van life or RV life is more fun. It's a more exciting lifestyle. The sales pitch for the RV life is the lifestyle is different than standard conventional housing living, which is a fair statement. The only thing to balance that, because I've lived both lifestyles, standard conventional living and RV nomadic living, is the only thing to counter that is long term nothing is fun if you don't have your health, if you don't have a level of financial stability, and if you don't have a plan for your elderly years. Okay, it's fun if you have all those things in place. See, I think you can make the fair counter argument that you're willing to waste a little bit of money investing in the van life or RV life because you get the appreciation of fun, but you can only say that if you have a financial game plan and you have a strategy for long term, because then you can afford to waste some money, right? Because, if you just say, well, yeah, I don't like regular living, so van life or RV life is just more fun, but then you don't have a long-term plan, then long-term you're not going to have fun. And so that's the key. I mean, I think the statement again, to say that I'm willing to waste some money because it's not a total waste if I get more enjoyment out of something. That's called enjoying the fruits of your labor. The whole point we sacrifice in life when we're younger, to build up our career, to save money, to live like no one else so we can live like no one else. The whole point of doing that is so that you can enjoy life on your terms. And if you don't do that and you're trying to live on the bare essentials and you avoid putting in if you avoid paying your dues and putting in certain work, then, I think you're going to have an issue. But I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm here to share my own experience. But for me, I think securing a property that I could legally park an RV, and I think most people who have RVs do that, whether they have a single family house and they can put an RV next to it, whether they own property that they could legally park an RV, like an RV lot or land in the middle of the country, or there even are some condos that allow RV parking, okay? But you got to be mindful there, and I'm going to make a separate video about once you get into van life, if you get out, you got to make sure that either you have a place to park your RV or you to sell it. So, but most people have a certain type of housing, and then they go RVing for adventure, and they're willing to spend extra money and just chalk it up as like a vacation or a way to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And that's where I balance the statement of, not everything in life you do just because it's cheaper, especially when you're willing to pay your dues, you've sacrificed, and you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So if you have secured a property for your long-term planning, or if you can't keep traveling, and I don't think, in my experience, in my opinion, I don't think you want to plan on having Planet Fitness parking lots, Cracker Barrels, rest areas as your permanent place to park, because there may come a time where you just can't move, or there may come a time where they get even more strict on these areas. And we know they have gotten more strict on these overnight parking areas throughout the course of even the past 5 years. And, if it become a problem, because, you do see more people living the van life, if it becomes a problem, believe me, guys, society will regulate. They'll put security guards, they'll put more signs, and they'll enforce it more. They'll give more tickets, they'll give more towings, and you cannot complain because you take a risk. When you go RVing or van lifing and you don't have a property, your risk is that you're willing to deal with the fact that you legally cannot park in one place for a long period of time, and you accept to keep it moving. And if you don't want to keep it moving, then your risk is you may eventually get yourself in a bind. Okay, that's just risk-reward ratio. Okay, you have to be honest with yourself. So to me, it was very important before I would buy an RV to buy RV lot or a property I could park an RV if I still saw that as somewhat of my future plan. And so that's what I did. But, the only negatives is with the travel trailers and even the fifth wheels, the quality of materials, I'm very sensitive to the air quality and those things with the formaldehyde and the off-gassing. It just hasn't been a win for me in that regard. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. But for a lot of people, it doesn't affect them. Just like I always say, for some people, eating peanuts does not affect them. Like for me, I can eat peanuts, but for some people, they're allergic to peanuts. They have an unhealthy reaction. And that's how you got to look at formaldehyde and off-gassing in RVs. I understand, I empathize when people say, oh, you're crazy, I'm not going to be scared of off-gassing. Well, most people shouldn't be, but some people are going to be sensitive to it, allergic to it, just like peanuts. Make a mental note. So, vans and some of the motorhomes, they may have a little bit better quality, but I'm still not 100% sure on that because I haven't purchased a Class B van or something like that or a motorhome. But I understand why, because I asked myself, well, why would you do it? Why would you spend more money? And it's a little bit of a waste. Well, you enjoy the lifestyle more. It's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more freeing. And you're willing to accept it. It's a little bit wasteful financially. It is. There's no way around the numbers, okay? And you have in my opinion, you have a property that you could park at legally. That's key. I wouldn't even consider it. I did consider it, but I said I'm not going to buy an RV before I have a place to park it. Because if I can't keep going on the road, I want to know at least I could. Look, guys, I've lived on the road full time for 5 years out of a vehicle. And it's not bad, but when I tell you, you have to have the financial ability to keep it moving, the mental ability, and it wears you out over time. So, and I like to spend most of my area by the beach in Florida, so I wanted to secure a place there first, And long term, I believe, and I know the data kind of shows it, on average, that's going to appreciate better long term than any RV, okay? And, so that's how I balance it for me. It's like, all right, I see it, I waste some more money on an RV, but I get enjoyment out of it. I've secured a property to land on, and that's always the counter argument, right? It's a more fun lifestyle. Now, some of the lifestyle to me isn't as fun over a long period of time, and that's what I've learned, and I'm learning, and that's why I'm very cautious to share with you, because after you get to the 5-year mark and beyond, the RV lifestyle is not as fun as it was in the beginning, just like many things. And you will tend to go back to standard living, apartment, house, or condo. Why? Because humans are creatures of habit, not adventure. And that is key. And that's why stability overrides adventure over a long period of time. And that's why standard housing living appreciates in value over time, because it ties into human nature. And that's, where fun can become not fun. But if you secured your property, if you've done the numbers, and even if it's a little wasteful, you still are on track for your financial goals long term, then it could be justified per se. Okay, and that's the whole kind of conversation of, all right, RV living's not cheap, but it's more fun. But even though it's more fun, I need to have a long-term strategy, because fun becomes dumb. Fun becomes a pain in the butt. Fun becomes burnt out after a long period of time. However, I still want to enjoy the fruits of my labor. So how can I balance this whole comprehensive discussion on RV living? And that's the bulk of what I wanted to share. I recognize we're all individuals with an individual fingerprint, so you have to figure out your own life. But I think some of these key things I discussed will help you to at least give thought. If you appreciate that, click the thumbs up, share the video, subscribe. Thank you to all my members who support the channel. You want to be a member, click the join button, share the video, and thank you again for watching.